Hello everyone, myself Sanat Kumar Swami, Assistant Professor at Vedang Technology, Bhubaneswar. Hope you are all doing well. Um, Today's class will be discussing about the listening skill, communication. We had a lot of communication classes before, previous classes. Today's class basically will be discussing about the listening skill. So see, this is also one of the most important skill. People do not possess this kinds of skill. Listening skill is one of the very important skill which very less people follow, which very less people possess. They may have a speaking skill, they may have an understanding skill, but listening skill is very important. So we'll be looking at its importance, what exactly it is importance, and what are the types of listening. So we'll be going through a few slides, and we'll also see few examples, try to correlate in the. So let's start. Right, introduction. As I have already said you that it is a important skill. Listening is an important skill in the communication. See, without listening, it becomes difficult for you to communicate. You may not be able to communicate the right thing which you want to communicate. And definitely, listening comes in this communication. Um, it may be personal or see to some extent personals may be acceptable, but in case of professional, when you are working for a professional setting, then that becomes very much difficult. If you are not listening properly, you don't have your if you don't possess the listening skill, then it becomes difficult for you to communicate properly. And you see, in these days, in most of the organization, people they not possess this. They want to right. Okay. So yeah, so it goes beyond mere hearing. Okay. Okay. What do you mean by mere hearing? You just hear unattentively. You're hearing, but you are not present at that point of time. Just mere hearing. Okay. Next, involving active engagement and comprehension of the spoken words. Actively, you are engaged. Whatever it is being said, you are actively engaged in that conversation. Okay. And you comprehend. You have the comprehensive comprehension of what exactly has been said. That is known as. Next, it is more than that. It's not, it doesn't confine to that. It is more than that. Okay. Right. In the Indian context where diverse language, you see, again the same thing, Indian, we have a lot of diverse language. We have cultural nuances, okay, which also plays an important part, important and significant part in what our listening skills should be. Okay. Uh, and those listening skills, those are important for our understanding and cooperation. See, if you are not unable to understand something, okay, though you are listening, but our culture also plays a very important role. You go to the um, uh, any different culture where you are unable to understand the language or unable the communication process, so that becomes difficult for you to understand, and you need and how you're going to cooperate. So basically, our culture also plays a very important role in the listening skill. Okay. And you see, if you are not able to understand, then definitely your listening skills will be dropped out. I mean, you will become very unattentive. Next, importance of listening skills. So now, what are the importance of listening skills? Think about it. What exactly? I've given you a few examples. Think about it. What should be the importance of skills? See, the first point is like it. It is essential for effective communication. If you are unable to listen properly, how you going to have an effective communication? And if you don't have an effective communication, then you won't be able to build meaningful interpersonal relationship. A interpersonal relationship cannot be built without any effective communication. Next, next is active listening promotes understanding. If there is an active listening, means you understand what is being said and you are participating actively. So what it happens that it promotes understanding. Yes, I am teaching you, I am lecturing you, and I know that yes, my students are able to understand. So that promotes understanding from my side, from your side, right? Actively. Next, build trust. That build trust with a teacher and a student. Next, reduce misunderstanding. I say something, you understand something. You say something, I understand something. So that is very difficult. Okay, that will create misunderstanding. But if there is an active listening, then it reduces the misunderstanding between the communicating parties. Who are the communicating parties over here? The teacher and the students. Next is it enhances empathy. Very less people they follow empathy. They practice empathy, rather they practice sympathy more. But empathy, see, if you are able to understand somebody, how through listening, if you have the skills to listen, then you definitely you will have that empathy towards the person in front of you. You will limit your judgment. Why this, why that? Because you are able to understand somebody has stolen something. You need to understand why that person was being forced to steal something. So you will limit your judgment and you will become more empathetic. Next, improve both personal and professional relations. Listening skill will improve your personal relationship and your professional relationship as well. See, these days you will see there are a lot of issues between a husband and a wife. You can say marital discord. Yeah, marital discord happen between husband and wife, and it is happening more in today's. Why? Because what the husband says the wife doesn't understand, what the wife says the husband doesn't understand, because right now it has become a mechanical. It's not effective. We are not able to listen properly. Our skills has been dropped to such a level that we don't want, either we don't want to listen, or even if you are listening, that we are not listening it actively. So definitely the marital discourse will definitely happen. Next, effective listening is crucial for resolving conflict. Definitely, if you're not listening properly, then how you are going to resolve any kind of conflict, if there is any, right? Next is increasing productivity. If you understand something, even you understand your what your leaders or what your boss wants you to do, then definitely your productivity level will grow up. And it also will provide constructive feedback. You'll get a positive or a constructive feedback about your there is any conflict. Next, so overall the cultivation of strong listening abilities plays a pivotal role in fostering connection and facilitating impactful communication. So if you want to have any impactful communication, so definitely these learning capabilities, these listening capabilities plays a very important role, right? Next, enhances communication. How? I mean, importance of listening. Okay, enhances communication. How? See, if you are listening, if you have that listening capability, okay, or that skill set of listening, that enhances communication, better communication, clear communication, I would rather say, and that also reduces the misunderstanding, and it fosters mutual respect also. See, what happens is that if you are mindful, you have a mindful listening skills, then there will be better communication. You can communicate better. Okay, you there may not be any misunderstanding. Okay, people, why there is a misunderstanding? Because people fail to understand what the other person wants to say, or what the other person is communicating, and definitely that is going to increase mutual respect to both the parties. So if you're looking at our country is a multilingual country. A lot of people, they talk in a different language. So if we are able to understand, or if you're able to listen properly or carefully, then that is going to bridge the linguistic gap which is present in many societies, and subsequently that is going to promote harmony. So the first point is enhance communication. Next, build relationship. If you want to build any relationship, then interpersonal relationship, maybe it may be personal relationship, or it may be professional relationship, then you got to have that listening skills, which is very much essential. Build these kinds of relations in our families also. If we talk about any example, you will see in our Indian families. Okay, we do a lot of talking, active talking during our uh, while we are working. We have a lot of chit chats, and that is actively. Okay, people, I mean, in our families you will see there are a lot of active listening. Okay, a lot of gossips happen, a lot of chit chat happens. So what happens, that creates a familiar bonding among our families, and that also reduces or solves kind of conflict within the family or outside the family. So next point is build relationship. Third is facilitates learning. Okay, facilitate learning means, see, every now and then I always tell you that everybody that you be a student always, eager to learn something. If you are eager to learn, then you have to become an attentive listener. Listen more. Then only you can get a lot of understanding, get a lot of knowledge from variety of sources. So if we talk about in the educational setting, particularly in the India, okay, the Indian students, they often deal with variety of teaching methods. See, in our society, in our schools and colleges, you will see not a particular way. I'm not talking about entire schools and colleges, but mostly you will see that the teaching methods or the languages which we observe or we use, say, in so-called English medium school, you'll find that teachers are teaching the students in local languages. They're teaching the students in Hindi, Bengali, Odia, Marathi, Telugu, and whatnot. But school is an English. So what we expect from that English medium school, that yes, there will be communication with. So see, the methods, the languages which they use are different, as because our society is a multilingual society. Okay, so particularly the Indian students, they face these kinds of issues, or they deal with these kinds of variety day to day life. So what happens, that there the positive aspect, if you look at, it facilitates various kinds of learning methods, a different and variety of learning methods. Next, improves problem solving. Once you are able to understand, how you are able to understand? Through proper listening. If you listen properly, you will understand properly, and if you understand properly, then you will be able to resolve any problems. So this point is about problem solving. Improve the problem solving. You see that in Indian workplace, leaders who listen to the team input can better address. So definitely that is the case, that and the bosses or the managers who are able to understand, or they are able to listen to what their team wants to let them know, then they will be able to address those challenges and innovations in a much better way. But if the managers who doesn't want to listen to their subordinates, who doesn't want to listen to the, definitely they will face with a lot of set of challenges, and next, cultural sensitivity. Definitely cultural sensitivity in as there is a multicultural society, you will find every now and then you will find a lot of cultural sensitive people all around. So what we have to do, that you have to be able to listen attentively. You have to understand what the person in front of you wants to express or wants to let you know. What is their perspective? What experience they want to share? Okay, and that is going to enhance our intellectual understanding and also cooperation, right? So the cultural sensitivity also becomes a part of our skills. Okay, right. Types of listening. So what are the types of listening? Types of listenings are, first one is active listening. Okay, active listening means with full concentration. What the speaker wants to tell you. If we give an example in the in this classroom, you will see that active listening is being taken into a lot of consideration when students they are listening, and then only this kind of active listening will be able to better address what is the need and what is the concern of that of the student. The first one is active listening. Next, passive listening. What is passive listening? Though you are listening, but you are not listening with full engagement. You are not, I mean, full participation. You are engaged somewhere else, but you are giving a lending ears to what conversation is going on. So what happens here is that it might suffice for casual conversation, it can lead to misunderstanding more critical. So if there is a casual, okay, conversation is going on, then that is okay, fine, no issue, no problem. But if there is a more serious interaction going on, okay, or if that is a business conversation going on, professional in terms of any kind of professional setting, then there will be definitely misunderstanding. So we have to be very careful about it. See, for example, a passive listener in a business meeting may miss key points leading to error. If you are passive listener, then you may lead or you may miss few key points which can lead to various kinds of error and various kinds of misunderstanding. Right. Next, reflective listening. Now, what do you mean by reflective listening? Means though you are able to understand, I mean, you are listening, okay, but you don't know what exactly or what accurate term the speaker has said. But if asked, you can paraphrase or you can summarize the entire um, speech of the speaker. So that is known as effective listening. You understand, but you are unable to express. I mean, you can express in your own words. You can paraphrase it, but you are unable to give the accurate terms which has been used by the. So what happened basically that in the Indian counseling sessions, reflective listening helps therapists ensure they fully grasp them. So in terms of the counseling sessions particularly, the counselor they expect that the they understand, okay, these kinds of passive reflective listening uh, helps this therapist that they fully understand what exactly the patient or the client's problem is. Because see, sometimes they may not be able to give you the um, they may give you a gist, okay, and you have to find out and summarize it what exactly the client's problem is, and um, counsel them accordingly. Next, empathetic listening. Now, what do you mean by empathetic listening? Empathetic listening is when a person is saying something, we need to understand his or her emotion, his or her perspective of what he wants, exactly he wants to say. Sometimes it does happen that he or she doesn't say the words what he or she means to say. Now, it is our understanding, empathetic listening, that we need to be empathetic to understand what the speaker wants, his or her emotion is, or her perspective. So, you see, if you take an example, empathetic listening can help the parents understand the children. So, these days you will see that a lot of parents, they're not empathetic at all. They don't understand what exactly the children or the child wants to say, what is the emotion of the child, and what perspective that child wants to bring into. So if you're not sympathetic, that becomes difficult for us to understand a person in a much. So if we have an empathetic listening, then only we will be able to foster a supportive environment. Okay. So these days you see there are social workers. Okay. Social workers are in every field. Maybe a hospital, maybe schools, maybe colleges, maybe factories. Okay, you name, and the social workers are there. They are bound to be there. Okay. There's a social welfare department. Okay, so they lend these social welfare officers. Okay, there are social welfare officers in every government departments these days. So they lend a empathetic listening. They are very empathetic, they can understand. Okay, they have been trained. Okay, these people they have been trained to have an empathetic listening. Right. Next, critical listening. Okay, so what sometimes critical listening is like, um, you when there is a speaker who wants to say something. Okay, um, you critically analyze them, understand them, what um, people wants to say. It is somewhat related to empathetic listening, but more of, like, for example, I'll give an example. Like, in case of a political there's a political rally or political meeting going on. So what happens is that in that particular case, critical listening enables the voters to discern fact from the rhetoric during speech. So they are critical listeners. Who? The voters. Okay, to the leader when they want to say something, when they're during the political speeches. Okay, so these voters, they critically analyze sayings, the words, what the message the leader wants to pass on. From there, they try to gather the facts. That is known as listening. Okay, you have to have certain facts and figures, you can say, in the critical list. You can evaluate what the person in front of you wants to convey to you with accuracy and relevance. Next, informational listening. Now, what do you mean by informational listening? Understanding and retaining information. When you are focused on understanding and retaining the information, then that can be termed as an informational listening. So in the Indian workplace, basically, you'll see that these employees, those are practicing these kinds of information listening. Okay, they effectively follow um, various kinds of instruction or various kinds of tasks in a more accurate way, because that's the way, I mean, information system works effectively. Next, okay, example. Now we'll go through few examples and we'll say. So what the exact example number one. So if you're considering about a educational setting, okay. So here we have taken an educational setting. Now what we have to do, that in an Indian classroom, a teacher explaining complex topics in Hindi might use active listening to gauge students' comprehension level, adjusting their teaching methods accordingly. This ensures that the student from diverse linguistic backgrounds understand the material. So what happens here? That for example, a teacher, he or she is teaching a topic, okay, in Hindi, okay. Now that teacher wants to measure the students' understanding level, comprehension level, understanding level, how far they have understood, okay, and whether they are able to adapt to the teaching method which has been given by the teacher. Okay, so this is known as educational settings. I mean, in an education setting, uh, uh, the listening, okay, how they are being able to listen to their teachers. Okay, so these ensure that students sometimes in the classroom you will find teachers students from diverse background. Okay, so whether they are able to understand the of the student. So one of the example. Next, example two, corporate environment. So what happens in a corporate environment is that the manager, okay, so they have various team meetings, okay, regular periodic meetings, weekly meetings, monthly meetings. So what happens that whether the in a corporate environment, whether that team members, okay, they are able to perspective in understanding team members perspective, the manager can address concern. So what happens that while the manager who is giving a in a group meeting or in a periodic weekly meeting, whether that manager is having a empathetic listening during the talk, and by giving that empathetic listening, whether the manager is able to understand the team members perspectives, if any, and how the manager can address their concerns, boost the morale. So this is also one of the most important examples in the corporate environment particularly. Next is family interaction. Interactions are like when we have a discussion in a about any kind of important event, okay, maybe marriage, maybe any kind of other functions or whatsoever, okay. So what happens that we have to have that reflective, so then only we'll be able to understand the kids or the children's, what is their viewpoint, what they view, what is their expectation. Okay, what happened that it becomes a harmonious and informed okay. So this is about the family interactions. Next, healthcare. In the in in Indian hospitals these days, you will see that when there is a consultation, when the doctor has a consultation with a patient, so they have to have a critical list. So what happens in this particular case that this is important in a country with diverse language and health accuracy, because if they don't have this critical listening skills, then they won't be able to accurately diagnose the issue of the right. Uh, so yes, so with this we have come to the end of the slide. Okay, so we'll quickly recapitulate what we have learned so far. Okay. So listening is a multifaceted skill vital for effective communication and relationship building, especially in a country. So if you're looking at a country like India, which is a very diverse country, culturally and linguistically, basically, so effective communication is very much, listening is a very important aspect in case of effective communication, where in a relationship building, you want to have a relationship building and an effective communication, right? Next, by practicing different types of listening, individuals can enhance their personal and professional interaction. So, see, if you want to enhance your personal interaction, if you want to enhance your professional interaction, then definitely this listening skill is one of the most effective. Um, Fostering understanding, empathy, and cooperation. See, cooperation, what kind of understanding you have, what kind of empathetic listening you are fostering. So this all depends on the listening. Okay. Next, in the Indian context where communication nuances are vast, strong listening skills are indispensable for navigating. So you see, we need to have strong listening skills, okay, which very less people they possess. In a country like ours, they're very vast and have a lot of strong um, listening skills should be possessed, okay, and that becomes very indispensable, okay, because we need to navigate the social, educational, and professional landscape, okay. Different kinds of social landscape we will be able to see in our diverse country. Various kinds of professional landscape are being seen in our diverse country. So these kinds of strong listening skills, okay, becomes a okay. So with this, we have come to the end of this session. I hope you are all able to understand us of listening skill. A very much important aspect in skills. So thank you very much for your time, and you all have a thank you.